Hi, guys. It is the Middle Easy Fight Fist podcast.
Wow.
I am quite literally almost going to be the Necklace and Reckless Dan Lamorte as my...
The
as-
nicknames become real life.
Yeah, as my spine is disintegrating as we speak.
Had a good run. A long 18 years.
I can't believe I'm actually going to become Necklace. That would be so fun.
Now I got to get someone pregnant so that I can go by Papa Luke too.
Yeah, I'm really committing. I mean,
I gotta
Diego was
commit,
always kind of horny. So
Yeah, I've always nailed my nickname.
it fit him well.
I really don't like because it's barely a nickname. It's just how I feel most of the time.
Yeah, it's funny because what I have been diagnosed with is it's like the curse for baseball players that ruins all their careers.
Oh, really?
Which is so not cool because my career was already ruined in baseball.
I didn't know
and now I'm
that.
getting another career-ending injury.
What's it called?
I have, well,
Big Poppy syndrome?
Steroids.
in my neck, I have what's called an HNP, which is like a severe herniated disc causing paralysis of my right side.
Ah, dude, yeah, but you're
And
left-handed.
then
That's
in
perfect.
my spine, I have severe spinal stenosis,
Jesus
which is
Christ.
what is currently ending David Wright's career and what did end Don Mattingly's career.
Why is that a baseball injury? I don't understand how that
It's not even a base. It's just you can't swing anymore. It's essentially
Oh.
the things around the spine tighten, so it's cutting off the spinal cord.
But do you get it from baseball?
No.
Oh, okay. It's just a coincidence that
Yeah,
baseball
it's
players.
a side
okay.
effect of my AIDS.
I was really trying to figure.
Were these baseball players also in car accidents?
Maybe I don't know.
I watched a thing because a lot of baseball players come from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, me
where
too.
they apparently do not have. Yeah, I know that. You're a proud Dominican person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently they don't have speed limits and everyone drinks and drives. There's a lot of car accidents that kill baseball players there.
Yeah, I mean there was
Yeah.
one big one a few years ago where the big prospect he wrapped his car around a tree and killed him and his 16-year-old girlfriend. And not enough people were like, "Why did this guy
Yeah,
have a 16-year-old girlfriend?"
It's a different country. Their cultures are better.
Their cultures are
It's so much more advanced.
they're ahead of their time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. Bad neck, bad spine, but we're good.
No 16-year-old girlfriend yet.
No, maybe that'll get me back to my youngin.
There you go. There you go. Look at
That's
that.
only,
Look at
I
you
feel
thinking positively.
Wow, the fact that I just thought in my head, I was like, when was I 16? And now I'm like, that was 7 years ago. I feel ancient.
Same.
Yeah, Diego's the youngest one on the podcast.
Diego's 11.
It's crazy. I shouldn't even be out this late, and it's actually pretty early. Hi, everyone. Did we say hi yet? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what's going
How
on?
are
It's
you?
Luke and Diego too.
Yeah,
Dan,
I am here.
everybody.
Yeah, we're in
all
the car
here.
again. I guess
we're
this
in
is
the
our new studio.
This
Yeah,
is studio.
This is the studio.
Yeah, I'm going to soundproof the windshield.
Dude, it's a very
It might
smart.
be dangerous for driving.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could put like those visors that people pull down that has like a baby on board logo on it. You got
Podcast
that.
on board.
Podcast recording.
I've had my seatbelt buckled.
Yeah, no, the second
We
you
were
got in the
never
car.
moving.
No,
yeah,
I
it's
was-
very funny that you had your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
How safe of you?
You put that on pretty quickly, too.
I think because of the last time we were in a car
awesome.
together, it was so strenuous emotionally. You're like, better safe than sorry.
Dude, that was. By the way, so on the way up to the UFC event in Utica with Jimmy and Marlon, my car broke down, and we had to in the upstate New York, and Diego and I had to.
Don't
get
worry, their
a
town
ride,
broke down.
Yeah, a ride back to New York, and all this stuff, and then AAA towed my car to a garage in Brooklyn the next day. They didn't tell me the name of the garage.
So funny.
They didn't tell me that the car made it there safe and sound. They didn't tell me the phone number of the garage. All they gave me was the address. So I had to go on Google Maps and find what garages are around there, then find the number, then call it. And they were like, yeah, some guy brought your car here with no papers and just didn't say anything and just was like, all right, see ya.
So fucking weird that they're just like that cavalier with a fucking full vehicle.
Exactly. I was like, where's my car? And
Yeah.
I was in Buffalo, so I was like, is my car alive? And then I went to the garage.
And it was on cinder blocks.
Dude, the guy, because he said to save my wheel bearing, the old one, because it was so fucked up. And he was like, bro, how the fuck were you driving on this?
Man, it's always that. It's always like, how did you make it this far? 2 more miles and you all would have exploded.
Yeah,
and it's like, wow,
exactly.
I'm glad it worked out that way. My friend had a headache for a while and he went to the doctor and he has a tumor. And they're like, if you would have waited another week, you would have died. I'm going to die that way because I'm never going to go to, if I have a headache, I'm just going to die.
Yeah.
I don't go to doctors.
No, you don't have time.
No, I'm so busy with
your friend
the
Tom?
best MMA. No, yeah, he has a pretty good chunk about it now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who?
Leif and Oxen. He's a producer of my other podcast.
Oh,
The
nice.
podcast.
Wow, your other podcast has a producer?
Yeah, we have like a studio and stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Nah, is it a car?
It's a bedroom. It's slightly a step ahead of this.
It's a Vespa.
Yeah, yeah. We're on a motorcycle just holding each other in a line.
That's funny because that guy just drove by in a Vespa.
Yeah, man. Luke sees
thought
the
we were in
world,
Italy for a
and he makes
second.
it a joke.
Yeah, there's
How are you, boy? How's everything? Dan? I'm sorry. Luke, how are you?
life's good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, happy, healthy,
good.
neck full.
Neck, so
Yeah.
so mobile.
To be honest, it all fits me. It's fine.
You
I
know?
feel like a guy who should lose the use of his legs by 30. I feel like that's the life I've chosen.
Yeah,
and
you have a very Larry Flint-esque vibe.
everything just seems to be going to some weird plan. Everything's going according to some other plan.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll just, you know what? I'll take anything at this point. I'll be crying on America's Got Talent in 5 years, being like, I remember when I had a spine. And I'm just a little puddle telling jokes.
That's fun.
Like the Eddie Pepitone joke where the guy's a puddle.
Oh my god, that fucking Pepitone joke is so funny.
What was it? The puddle one?
It's because it's the
little
boy.
Met fan.
No, they don't laugh. Okay, so he tells a joke, and he's like, "I heard you there not laughing very much," and like the crowd like goes, and he's like, "Look, I don't want to put it on you, but today before I left for the show, my a fan, little Timmy, he's in the hospital, and he goes, Eddie." He has no bones. He's in the hospital because he has no bones. He's in an amorphous blob, and he's like, Eddie.
He has a
make
Mets
him
hat
laugh.
on, though.
He's got a little Mets hat.
And it
Make him
echoes.
laugh, Eddie. But I don't want to put too much pressure on you. God, that's one of my favorite specials of all time.
Eddie
so
Pepitone is
funny.
one of the. Where he has a video online where he heckles himself.
Oh my god.
And he's like, hecklers never actually say the things that hurt you the hardest. So he's like, I'll show you. So then he runs off the stage and goes in the crowd. He's like, Eddie, why do you dream of red birds at night? Do you think it's a symbol for? and then he starts heckling himself with the weirdest shit.
Oh my
What,
God, he's the best.
dude? That Jay Moore joke you told last
Uh-huh.
time, I can't stop talking and thinking about it. I'm
It's
like
so
in love
funny.
with it.
It's such a
What was
fucking
it, babies and Vietnamese women sound the same.
no babies. Toddlers and Vietnamese store owners are the same person. I'm not gonna do the whole bit again. Someone just listened to it, but it's just like you. Where Daddy? Daddy go to work. Daddy not here. You look, you never buy. It's fun, man. It's a fun man. Racist stereotypes are fun. They're wrong, and we shouldn't do them.
Yeah, I pointed it
A
out.
lot of
fun.
them are inarguably hilarious, though. Like,
Oh
the
my god! I
voice.
put it on Twitter the other day. It didn't do well, so I deleted it because that's who I am as a person.
What?
But I was like, there's an alarming amount of announcers left in baseball that when an Asian pitcher comes in the game, they're like, he's going to throw the splitter. Like, they'll just do an Asian accent out of nowhere.
I had a I would say a racist thought that was pretty harmless when I was with I got to see my dad, blah 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 blah. But with the diner we were at, or like little kitchen area, or like a little cafeteria, perfect word. They had a TV, and they're watching like track and field that was happening somewhere, and I was watching the long jump, and the first guy up was like a guy from Kenya or something like that, and he jumps and lands and does really well, but then it cuts, and the next guy is like a Korean guy, and my brain goes, "Why are you here? You should be here. What are you doing here?"
Like, did you not just see Kenya go up? That's the headliner going.
Yeah.
You don't follow the
but
headliner.
Look, he jumps, lands, and breaks his ankle.
Oh,
like he's
no.
on the floor screaming, and my brain's like, "Yeah, I told you shouldn't be here. This isn't for you."
Wow, he
Dude,
broke his ankle.
I laughed in the but like I can't imagine someone seeing this and not laughing. This is true. It does not sound true. Because
believe
it
you,
sounds
yeah.
like straight out of a movie. How ridiculous it was. I'm in line at Taco Bell today in Penn Station for my lunch break. At
Beautiful.
Work.
I love Taco Bell.
They I'm number 70. That's my ticket number for my meal.
God, so close.
Number 69 gets called.
Hold on. Nice.
There's an autistic kid.
Oh,
autistic
yes.
Kid in a full shirt and tie, and like dressed up way too nicely, and you could tell it's because he's autistic.
Right.
that he
Right.
dressed so
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Dude. So I'm number 70. They keep calling number 69, and the lady behind the counter, I swear to God, was going 69, 69, and then trying to help the autistic kid would turn around and go 69! I just got, so the lady would scream 69, and then this autistic kid would like squeal the number 69. I was alone laughing. I didn't have any friends or
Of course,
coworkers.
yeah.
Everybody was just looking at me with like shock and awe.
They should treat the number 69 in orders or things like that, like they treat the number 13 in elevators. Like, let's just skip it. Let's just save each other a lot of laughter and pain and
I
suffering.
love I love how that number makes people. I mean, for 12 years now, the last two numbers of my cell phone are 69.
Oh, wow.
And I get to see people laugh. But I love when fast food people yell stuff out. I remember when I was on the road and I took Usama to open for me. So
Heard of him?
Usama is a comedian in New York City. His name's he goes by Usama or Osama Siddiqui. And we were at a Wendy's in Alabama. And he goes to the bathroom and his order's ready. So a woman, this is a packed Wendy's in Alabama. Like,
Oh, that's
you
great.
could tell this was the big people's night out. And it was
course,
only like
that's
4
what I thought.
o'clock. So it's crowded there. And then this woman is just like, is there an Osama? And like you saw like 4 men in the back like slowly stand up like
Hold
they
on
were
a
ready
second.
to
God damn
bounce.
it, not my Taco Bell.
And then he comes out, he's like, yeah, Usama right here. And everyone was just, it was, you had to be there.
No, it's very funny.
Yeah, that was a good story.
I give up on my stories
Come
very quickly.
on,
don't-
you gotta
you
be a
took a
little more
dive on that
paw.
too
You
quickly, dude.
fucking took a
I didn't. You
dive.
know what? I thought I was gonna have more legs behind it, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get to the ending.
Oh, man. You're Cindy Crawford with all those legs.
Da da ting.
Um,
I one time had I was doing a show in the city, and a guy walked on stage and went behind me to a drum set. Then after every joke I told, he did the
Ugh.
ba da ting, and I turned around after like the 4th time, and I was like, listen, man. And I said this into the mic. I was like, there's 20 people there who want to hear these jokes. If you do that again, I'm going to shove that drumstick so far down your goddamn throat. He was like, oh, I'm really sorry. He just left.
I
That's the
can't
thing.
believe
You think
got
they're
him.
helping. It's
On
crazy.
the drums. That's insane.
Yeah, he thought he was like doing a really good thing. He was like, oh, I'm telling them where to laugh. I was like, that's what the joke does.
Yeah, yeah. The
The-
pausing
Yeah.
of my voice does that.
I could do what you could do without the drumsticks.
I did a shitty road gig with former podcast. It wasn't, the worst, but with former podcast guest Tim Sturdivant, and it was not an ideal gig. But there's a disco ball. It was at a jazz cellar in upstate New York, and everybody was bombing all show. And I was like closing, and he was second to last, and it was a long ass show. And he was just like looking around the room to see what he could like use to riff on, and there was a disco ball, and. I think he must have asked whether or not it was controlled by the bar, or maybe he just knew. But every time a joke would bomb, he would make the bartender turn on the disco ball. And it killed. It like completely
Oh.
turned on
Funny.
the set. It was fucking great.
That is
I
that's
love those.
brilliant thinking.
I mean, no, love is a strong word. But those shows when you're like, okay, we're all bombing, it becomes kind of fun because you're like, all right, let's see how fucking wild I can get.
Oh yeah, you could
other-
one up your friend's bomb.
That,
Yeah.
And the other thing is that it's just like in school when there was one of your buddies also didn't do the homework.
Yeah.
It's the same feeling. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
someone's in this with me now.
We're not alone.
We're both fucked up.
Because there's nothing worse than bombing on a show that everyone's killing on.
Yeah, that's
Or
the
doing
wor-
well, at least.
That's horrible.
Oh.
Bombing in front of like when there's like a good show where there's like I've had bad sets on my show sometimes and there'll be like fucking 30 comedians hanging out.
Mhm.
That's a nightmare.
That's
Your
I
show
know.
does have so many comics hanging out.
Dude, it's insane.
That adds pressure
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
so
they're
much.
all there fucking,
I've been there.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Which is, I understand that it's nice that they're all coming and they all want to get booked, but if
That's
they're
what it
all
is,
just
yeah.
standing there awkwardly trying to like fucking make eye contact.
Too
with
many
Lisa,
comics
it's, like,
watching.
bizarre.
I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
Lucy,
yeah,
because
like-
I emailed you. And
Yeah,
you're like, yeah, I got it. Trust me, it's fine.
Exactly. So
A
it's
lot of
just-
people email me.
Nothing.
Yeah, I feel
no-
like if you're going to be a comic in the back of the room, and you just specifically if you want to get booked, laugh, help
Totally.
the show.
The
And
other
I'm not
thing-
saying be rude, like fake, but like don't look at your phone the whole time.
Yeah, dude. Well, the other thing that I noticed is that this was when we first started doing the show, but they would laugh really hard for my co-hosts, and I realize now because now I get almost too much courtesy laughter from the comics in the back of the room, and I think a lot of the comics in the back of the room's reaction to whoever's on stage is based on how much they know them.
Yeah, I would
If they're
agree. I would
comedians.
agree to that.
If someone's more familiar, if they're like, I already know this guy and I know he's funny or I like him as a person, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, that's a lot of that is that I know this person is funny. Because same thing, like if you do like a really, really short set where it's like literally 3 minutes in front of strangers or something like that, and they don't know you, it's a very short period of time for someone to decide on whether they like you or not, and then really take in your joke.
I
So,
think
like,
I'm
when
really good at
someone-
making them make up their mind that they don't like me
Sure.
in under 3 minutes.
So when I go on, when you see someone on stage that you already have in your head as like someone you like, you just take in the joke, and you
Yes.
appreciate so much. It's so much easier to appreciate.
That first, it's like, yeah, that first step is already like taken away.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like what Tinder does for dating. You already decided you're attracted to.
Yeah, like,
each
look,
other.
we already fucking like what's going on. Let's just
Yeah.
see. Let's see if your personality sucks.
Yeah, that's great.
That is true because anytime a friend comes up to me, they're like, dude, this guy's really good. You got to watch him. Like, in my head now, I'm watching to see what he does wrong opposed to him killing. So I was like, if they say he's good, let me find out why he's not good, which is
Oh.
the wrong thing to do.
You
Yeah.
going with like skepticism. I get what you're saying. It
Yeah.
depends who told me.
Which is dumb because more times than not, I find every comic somewhat funny.
I don't have that experience, but that's a good outlook.
I could usually, if someone even has a bet that I could usually find what bit's going to be strong in that set. Like,
Okay.
I try my best to not shit on someone completely unless they're not here. Then I
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Never to their face. I'm a coward.
Um,
I'm spineless. Boom, baby.
Wow, look at that.
oh man.
You brought it all together.
But
I bought fake cocaine from that guy one time
Which guy?
in the do-rag.
Oh, well, I should have guessed.
I can't believe you had to make me say that.
I know, but it was funnier.
fucking. Do you want to talk a little MMA?
Sure. Lead the way.
Sure.
Whatever you want.
Al, former podcast guest, Al Iaquinta,
Mhm.
is continuing his long-running beef with Dana White currently over the weigh-ins. He's furious
Mhm.
because I don't know if you saw the press conference. Dana said, I think it was after 225. Dana insisted that he's talked to hundreds of hundreds of fighters, and they all prefer the late weigh-ins.
Right.
And they were like, and the reporter was like, well, literally every single fighter on this bill told us they prefer the early ones.
Mhm.
And Dana was like, well, there's 550. He was like, don't you think it's like, that doesn't really add up if every single one here doesn't like him? Dana's like, there's 550 fighters. You got to pull a lot more than 16 to get a good
Mm-hmm.
survey. And you're like, dude,
You're full of shit.
fucking lying.
It's crazy how
Yeah,
full of
it's
shit
crazy.
he is.
So, I think it was, whatever. But
Like, yeah, he's never killed anybody like Don King, but he sucks.
He'll kill someone soon with these weigh-ins.
dude, he's like, you could tell why he's such an amazing fight promoter. He's got a level of ruthlessness that like
Yeah.
he continues to surprise me with this ruthlessness.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And Al's just freaking out over basically just furious at him and
Yeah, because he's being dishonest, man.
yeah.
Al's a very furious man, I've learned from Twitter.
Well, the thing I can't wrap my head around is what does the UFC lose by keeping the early weigh-ins?
the integrity of their fights.
Because they're blaming that on people missing weight.
They think people are missing weight intentionally because of the early. But I don't know how that adds
That
up.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
how
it
does
doesn't make
it-
any sense to me.
Why would
So-
people miss weight intentionally?
I guess
You lose part of your purse. I guess
Yeah.
people think that if they lose because even like Mackenzie, wait, who was it? Was it Mackenzie Dern who who was off by 7?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like even that as an advantage, I don't think is worth the stigma of being a person who now has to fucking answer
Yeah,
a
and
ton
like
of questions
50
about.
grand.
Yeah, and it's like you lose part of your purse. It follows you for every fight now. I just it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think a fighter would want that. It's just weird to me. But
Yeah, I wonder why they seem to think that the early weigh-ins are causing people to. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, it doesn't make that much sense to me either. I guess I could see someone missing weight on purpose, but I don't understand how the early weigh-in.
has anything to do with it?
Yeah, why is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
even related?
It makes a lot of sense to me. Like I wish when I fought, I could have gotten there earlier, before the fight, and weighed in, and then had more time to drink and eat. But it's like I didn't have that luxury. To me, it seems like a great thing to give the fighters
So what's the problem with the afternoon weigh-in? Why is it so much worse than the early one?
because it's less time to
Recover.
rehydrate and recover. Yeah, that's all it is. Just less time,
So you're fighting.
and you have to wake up and like hang out and not eat.
Yeah.
So any of that time is painful.
So you're fighting more dehydrated, maybe weaker, more
Yeah,
frustrated,
slightly,
just in worse shape.
Yeah, because it was more recent that you had to weigh in.
Yeah.
So what is I've been out of the loop on everything. What is Dana wants afternoon?
Dana wants to go back. He said they're going back to afternoon, and I think it's because there's been a spike in people missing weight since they
Huh.
moved it earlier. But I don't know if those two are correlated.
Exactly.
I think
It
if
hasn't been that long.
yeah.
You know, he's kind of saying you got to sample a larger population, so you,
Then
kinda
you have to
might
wait long.
sample
Yeah.
more time.
Yeah, you have to wait longer
Yeah.
to get better results. But I don't know. It's weird. Just weight cutting in itself is so fucking weird and hard. And that the video of the British kid. What was his name? Who Elkins? No.
Darren Till.
Till. Yeah, that video of him crawling out of the sauna. Like that's fucking disgusting, man. That's so sad. And
Yeah, dude. They were talking about Romero had to be
Mhm.
carried by two guys, and he was like screaming.
it's
while
no
they were
joke.
holding
That's
him.
fucking life and death, man.
And it's just like, I think. What do you think about them adding more weight classes? That seems to be a solution that a lot of people think would be good, because then a guy like Romero would fight at, because maybe he doesn't want to go all the way up to 205 and fight huge guys like Cormier, but maybe he would fight at 95 and risk his life less.
I think they should adjust it where it should be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It should be by 10 pounds. I don't know why some are 05 and some are 55 and some are 70. Like, just make it all 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Because every 5 pounds doesn't make any sense. That's too close to each other. Just make them all 10 pounds. 85, 95, or 80, 90, 200. I just think that makes the most sense to me.
They don't have a
Or
60
or 35, 45, 55, 65, 75,
They
85,
don't have a 65.
or
And for
95.
some reason, they don't have a 65, they don't have a 95, and then it's 170.
they also don't have a 300 plus.
True. But it's just like
kinda no
one
logic to the
people.
weight class.
Yeah, it really makes no sense.
Rogan-
I mean, boxing makes less sense. Like fucking 137. Like what kind of fucking random number is
yeah,
that?
I guess at least the idea with boxing is that there's way more weight classes.
So there's more titles.
Yes, there's more titles, but
Yeah.
there's also weight cutting is way less of a thing in boxing than it is.
Yeah,
in
you don't
MMA.
hear much about people missing weight in boxing.
No,
I mean,
No,
it happens
less.
still.
It happens still, but it happens.
It happens less.
they cut less, and I also get that the guys cut so much because so many of the guys in the UFC or in MMA come from a wrestling background, and that's just part of the culture.
I was
but-
watching the Anthony Joshua documentary that's on Netflix. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's short. It feels more like a YouTube video, but it's good. And I forget that he doesn't have to cut. They don't cut weight. He's a fucking heavyweight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't imagine how nice that is to just fucking go fight for like a ton of money and not have to cut weight. And be like, woo, I feel good.
Justin Gaethje said he doesn't really cut weight, right?
Yeah.
He likes to be pretty just
Yeah,
as
that's-
fresh as
I
possible.
mean, there
I
are
think-
definitely UFC fighters who have never once had an issue with weight.
Sure. Yeah. Frankie used to not cut weight at all for 55. I think he cut like 5 pounds maybe. And it's
Yeah.
like now, he's cutting like 10 or so. But
Did
it's
you?
like,
I just heard this crazy. I forgot which fighter it was. He was on the last UFC card, and he took the fight short notice, and he had to cut 42 pounds in like a week.
No.
And he did it.
No.
I think it was
What?
either a 1 week or 2 weeks. It was a
42
UFC
pounds.
fight. Yeah, he had to cut 42 pounds because it was he took it on short notice and told them he could make the weight,
That's
and he forced himself to lose 42
astronomical
pounds.
amount of weight.
Yeah, I forgot who it was. I'll have to look that up.
Like, I
later.
almost think you're making a mistake.
No, he
Like, it's-
definitely.
So much weight.
I mean,
That's
a
a leg.
I could have been high on Percocet.
What?
so-
You? Hi? Come on. Folks, if you're listeing,
I've
do
toned
me a
down my
favor.
stone tweets.
Why don't you go ahead and rate and review the
What kind of
podcast?
Google search was that? Literally to figure out who cut 42 pounds to make a UFC event this past one. He searched verbatim cut weight 40. Not even 42.
I found it, though.
not pounds.
That's great.
UFC
Good for you.
newcomer Craig White out almost 50 pounds.
Wow. Wow. That's fucking insanity.
this
He's the
one-
guy that went to fight. That fought Neil Magny.
They shouldn't have let him do that.
Yeah,
That is.
he lost in the first
He-
round.
What?
He had
lost?
to cut. He had to cut 46 pounds to make the 171-pound
Oh
limit.
my God. I don't understand how it's physically possible.
Jesus, and he said he's done it before, where he's cut 40 pounds.
Go
He
fuck
walks
yourself.
around at 216 pounds.
That's insane.
I'm not.
That's irres-
I don't have the
That's disgusting to me.
care to read
Yeah.
the whole article. But he
No,
cut
who reads
46
full
pounds.
articles? If you
Smart
make your
people.
article a video, then I'll read your article.
46 pounds. That is
See, like, a guy like that would
ridiculous.
probably be better off just fighting middleweight, right?
Yeah, that's nuts. I've literally like that's
That'd be a big cut.
a
for
Rumble
middleweight.
Johnson's esque style cut.
Yeah.
That's so much weight. I feel like sad. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, you poor fucking person. That's crazy.
There was a picture on the MMA subreddit of Rumble at all 4 weight classes he's fought at,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
so
fucking-
funny.
I mean, he's jacked in every weight class, but
Sure.
it's so weird. The fact, I mean, him cutting to him cutting to 70, it doesn't even make sense.
I don't even know how God could let that happen. Because I've been working out a little bit more, because I work out a lot, but like I've been working out on like
Rub it in.
So sorry that my job is working out. I'm like very physical. My job is fighting, but like more care into my aesthetics, like how I look physically naked.
Good word.
And I found a picture of my last weight cut, and I'm like, damn it, that looked good. I'm not there anymore.
The way you looked in your last weight cut?
My last weight cut, yeah.
Do you
I
have
was fucking
do you have abs,
shredded.
Diego?
Yeah,
You have all 6 or 8?
I have 6.
I one time almost had 3.
That's great, man. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you the weight
very
cut.
defensively.
Yeah,
for
how
the abs
dare you?
question.
Here's
Listen,
me at
you're
one.
an older man. Sometimes
Oh,
they
let me
go
find
away.
Let me find it. This is me. The morning of my last fight, right after the weight cut, I was 130.
Diego's just Google
pounds.
searching cut weight 40.
Cut weight 40, handsome. Yeah, that's
That was my worst Google.
134.
Damn, dude.
Woo!
Jesus.
I'll put that up on the Twitter for you.
I remember. I remember
we don't
2
wanna see
years
this.
ago, my dad got himself into such good shape that
Dude,
he
your
had a
dad's so
six-pack.
handsome.
He is handsome.
You
I
posted
guess.
that picture. I'm like,
But
what?
it was.
fucking
It's
weird
very weird to see your dad with a 6-pack.
Hell yeah, I bet.
It's kind of
Because you're like a horny. You're like, oh, why am I so horny for my
because he won the game. He's been married for 25 years. Why do you need a 6-pack?
Yeah, dude.
Health is overrated.
I disagree. Health is well.
Sometimes fat people live to 80, and you're like, they lived their whole life. The
You
way
ever,
they
Yeah.
wanted
you ever
to.
see that
Never
video of the old woman being interviewed? And they're like, what's your secret? And she's just drinking Dr. Pepper. She's like, 4 Dr. Peppers a day. And you're like, oh, you fucking old lady.
My Aunt Angie lived to 105, and I think every day after her 50th birthday, she would take a shot of tequila, and that was her thing. And she lived
It
to like
seems-
105.
It seems, I love that old people have a thing like that. They're like, oh, don't get married. Or like, oh, I eat a cigarette before breakfast every morning. Like, this is the dumbest shit. And it's like, God, I wish you didn't live this long so people don't believe your nonsense.
You know what I hate? I hate when
How many people died early because they ate cigarettes
Right.
like you old fuck?
I hate when people are like, "Do you really want to feel miserable your whole life?" Then I was like, "Listen, if all you feel is miserable every day, then it's not miserable anymore.
Right.
That's
exactly.
normal. I've just made miserable
control.
normal." All right, that was
Yeah.
kind of depressing.
That's
I
sad
apologize.
now.
I'm gonna go eat a cigarette.
Diego, show us that naked picture of you.
All right,
How
here
we
we
doing? Oh man.
go.
Fuck. But
So Al and cutting weight, that's fucking upsetting. Any
Yeah.
other MMA news?
Did you
Yeah.
get? Oh,
I mean,
Also, thank you, Luke, for doing the homework.
no worries.
Yeah.
I've been very busy.
Bisping and Colby are going at it. I mean, I don't know. We could just.
Also, Gary Tonin is going at it with Colby because Colby said he would submit him. And Gary told him that if he can submit him, he'd get a tattoo of Colby teabagging Gary on his butt.
that's an intricate piece of art.
I know. I kind of wanted to draw it out just
He's
so
so
it's
confident he's not gonna get submitted.
Yeah, man, he's Gary Tonin. He's not gonna get submitted by Colby Covington.
Yeah.
There's like it'd be crazy. I think Colby's a very good wrestler, but it's a different. It's a
It'd be,
different
like,
world.
insane.
It's a
Yeah.
different world. Gary's probably one of the best competing jiu-jitsu players right now in the world, and it's just like, yeah, I don't think you could tap him.
You
You
think
might.
he's just why? That's not even like.
Rusmal Parhauris couldn't submit Gary. There's no one more dangerous in the UFC than Rusmal Parhauris. I mean, he's not in the UFC anymore, but like when
He was one of the scariest fighters.
he's the scariest. He was, and this is John Danaher's perfect words. Rusmal Parhauris was with submissions to what Mike Tyson was to knockouts. It's that instant and
Yeah.
it's terrifying and that dangerous to being there with him. So it's like he couldn't submit Gary. You think fucking Colby Covington can submit Gary? Nah,
Yeah.
man. I'm sorry.
I don't
That shit
even-
ain't happening.
Gary's not even that famous, so why is Colby making that call out? Is he just like?
I think Gary's pretty famous, but not to UFC people.
Yeah.
If you pay any real attention to the MMA Jiu-Jitsu world, then Gary's as famous as it gets. But I think if he was on some podcast, and I think that probably it was one of those things I'm sure it was brought up to him.
Yeah.
But I don't, I didn't listen to it because I don't respect any other podcast that I'm not on.
No, Rusar is great. That, you know what's interesting is that Ortega's the first guy in a while that's had that instant submission, like where as soon as he grabs a hold of some guy, the whole crowd their
They're like, oh,
stomach
here we go,
drops.
here we go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like Ronda.
Even Damian Maya doesn't really have that much. He's more
Not
willing to ground and
anymore.
pound people out
Yeah.
and like wear them out. And he's very jiu-jitsu about his jiu-jitsu, where Brian Ortega is almost a little more like entertaining jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's like a knockout artist for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's like a submission.
Yeah, Ortega's like the opposite of when a Gracie gets someone down. Because when a Gracie gets someone down, you know they're going to win, but it's going to take a little while.
Sure.
Whereas Ortega he understands the flair of the submission.
Dude, even when he fought Frankie before the knockout, every time he would grab onto Frankie, the whole crowd would be like, ooh, like they would just start making noises because like you expect him instantly to get that submission because
Yeah.
he's gotten so many of them so quickly.
Oh, one other thing that was announced a little while ago, Renzo Gracie's making his return to MMA.
I heard this.
He's in a fight for the ONE FC promotion, which also Gary fights for. His opponent has not been named to my knowledge.
What weight class?
I believe he usually fights at 170.
Let's put him against Askren.
Oh, man. Oh, that would break my heart to watch. I don't want to watch that at
You
all.
don't wanna watch that at all?
No, Askren's too good and young, and it's give him
Kick the shit
someone
out of him.
closer to. I sparred Renzo. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
No.
Yeah. When I was fighting, I think before even my first
you guys
fight.
are like the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age. You motherfucker. You have some respect. I'm older than you, and I'm much better fighter than you are. When I was fighting, I think right before I was fighting, I was at Almeida's, and Ricardo is Renzo's black belt, like one of Renzo's first, I think technically his second black belt. So he was there, and he was wearing MMA gear, like he was full on sparring. And the way the room works is the further towards the window you are, the more skilled you are. It's like Frankie is on the window, basically. So I was all the way towards the beginning of the mats. And it's like each side of the room had three pairs of people. So 6 pairs of people are sparring at one time. And the bell rings, and there's the round ends, and you got to go and find a new partner. And Renzo's just kind of pacing in the middle of the room, and I'm just standing there looking at him because I'm like starstruck by him. And he sees me looking at him. He's like, "Oh, do you want to spar? Like, you want to round?" I'm like, "Yes, okay."
Amazing.
And we sparred, and I wasn't very good then, but like, I don't know what the protocol is for like hitting a legend, and like, not that I really could then at all. I didn't have any pop then, but
Yeah.
just like I was just like confused in the moment. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything disrespectful. And he was just so cool, and like he could tell I wasn't that good yet, and like was being nice with me, and like I tried to take him down ignorantly enough, but like I wanted to show him that like I'll fucking go to the ground. Like I'm not gonna beat you there, but I'll go there with you. It could show you I'm a little brave or whatever.
That's crazy.
And then he like stopped. He's like, no, take me down like this. And we talked for a little while. Because I have a Helio Gracie tattoo.
Really?
Yeah, so Helio Gracie, basically the founder of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I'll show you right now.
Hey,
This
that's
guy
a
does
leg.
it looks like Edgar Allan Poe, I know, but because it's from a political cartoon in Brazil, for the listener, it's a caricature of Helio Gracie, and he's in a gi, and his arms are tied behind his back. And in the political cartoon, he challenges, in real life, he challenged Joe Louis, the heavyweight boxing champion of the world, to a fight, and he'd have his hands tied behind his back.
That's so crazy.
And I have the political cartoon, and I showed him that, and he's like, "Oh, that's one of the best Gracie tattoos I've ever seen."
That's awesome.
Because no one, like a lot of people have never seen that cartoon to begin with. So he was like very cool, and we took a picture, and like it's one of my favorite
sick.
moments in MMA is
Yeah,
I
this
got
is
to spar him.
incredible, man.
And then years later, when I was like almost done fighting, he was back at Almeida's, and his son was sparring, and I got to spar his son,
Whoa.
and that was really cool too. So I was like, "Oh man, that's crazy!" I sparred both.
2 episodes you've been on as a guest and about 25 as a co-host, and you've never brought this up.
I'm so sorry.
It is a great story.
Yeah.
that you
I think you waited for the one episode that really needed some carrying.
Right. I remember when I was sparring at Renzo's, Igor Gracie he's like had a big fight coming
One of
up.
my favorite names, Igor.
Igor's the best, man. He's such a fucking nice guy. But he's in the corner, and he's like a bunch of GoPros going. Like he really wants to get like homework done. And I'm about the same height as him. And he's like, "Oh, can we go around?" And like, I pride myself on being a good sparring partner. When people need me when they have a fight, I ask them like, "Who are you fighting? What kind of style are they?" And I can morph myself to help them. Like, are you a wrestler? Okay. Is he kickboxing? I could play as someone else. And I asked him, and blah, blah, blah. I helped him. And we had a really good round, and the day progressed. And then we're all kind of just sitting on the wall. And he walks over to me, leans down, and goes, "Hey, this is your home. You can come here whenever you want." And it was like, I almost fucking
dude.
cried. Like, Jesus
Christ.
fucking Christ.
Man.
Why do you think he laid it on so? That's incredible.
Because you can tell. You can tell when someone's there to help you and when they're like willing to be a tool for another person. And he can tell that I wanted to help him. And I'm very technical as a sparring partner, and I'm like, I don't go like crazy.
Yeah.
And like if you tag me, I don't try and tag you back really hard. I try and like catch you, but like it's with technique, not power. So it's like one of like the coolest little, my short-lived fighting career is like one of my favorite little moments of it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So is there? Does the rest of the gym look down on a guy who goes really hard in sparring?
Depends, because those people can be kind of useful. I personally dislike that.
Yeah.
I don't like people who can't control it. I like people that are willing to go hard, but not that they can't turn it on or off.
They don't. You don't like people that have to do that.
Exactly. That because to me that tells me that there's an emotional issue here that needs help. You need something to fix that because that's an emotional response.
Yeah.
B, you're probably not very technical. Technical fighters don't need to go hard. They can pick you apart with, like, when I spar people, like, my students, I don't close my fists really ever.
Yeah.
I'm just slapping them basically with straight lines and
Yeah.
just tagging them. So if you need to go hard, you're probably not very good.
So with a guy like Dillashaw, who's incredibly technical, but also is known for being a shitty sparring partner. Well, known for going extremely hard in sparring. You think that's just got to be an emotional thing then?
Maybe, but, like, he's at the point where I just think he really likes breaking people. I think he really enjoys making people quit and making people feel his power and, like, making them respect him.
Do you think he does that to train to train to be able to do that in a fight, or do you think he does that just because it's an ego trip that he likes to get on a fucking Tuesday?
I bet it's a little bit of both. Because I've listened to him talk, and I don't think he's an asshole in that way, but it does seem like he's a little... he likes to test people. I don't think it's like an ego thing necessarily, but I think he likes to know that he has it.
Yeah.
He's a capable fighter. But he's also a 35er. So it's like a 35er going that hard is not as bad as a fucking 85er going that hard.
Yeah.
I once got my fucking ass beat by this, I think he fought at 85. And he just, because I'm tall, I guess he thought I was stronger, bigger than I really am, and he beat the fuck out of
Did
me.
you fight at 35?
Mhm.
That's insane.
But I'm tall as hell.
Yeah.
And he fucking, every punch felt like a head kick. Like, it just felt like the most power I've ever
That's
felt.
so crazy.
And it was to the point where I was like, I'm like, what's going on? Are you going to murder me right now? Like, this is my life. It's ending now.
God.
To be honest, that was what I found the hardest because, I tried to become a fighter very late in life when I was already very fat. So they'd bring in
I started
these-
training when I was your age.
Really?
Yeah.
The problem was when I would go to the gym, they would bring in these either professional or amateur fighters who were massive individuals. And like right off the bat, I would get dissuaded to spar with them because there was one guy whose name he was named after a Viking god.
Oh, cool.
And he was like probably like 6'6", 6'7", and was me, but as if me was muscle. And it was like they put me in the oven and it turned into muscle. And I remember just looking at the teacher and I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. That's a very large man, and no one names himself after a Viking if they're a pussy.
Right.
Dude, I used to box when I was like 12 or 13, and just my aunt took me because I loved boxing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun, man. And I would go, and it was like this gym called Casales, real like gritty gym in Niagara Falls, which is where I'm from, and it's a shitty area. So it's like a gritty ass gym in a shitty place, and Nick, the guy's son, Nick Casale, was an incredible boxer.
Mhm.
He was like, had a really fucked up and like kind of like he had a life of crime. It was like one of
Oh,
those
wow.
that-
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he was like the dick son of the head trainer, who was like an amazing fighter. It was like there's like a whole culture there.
So he was like the Pauly Shore of the gym.
exactly.
Oh,
but
nailed
Pauly
it.
Shore was like better at stand up.
Uh-huh.
But
Sorry, Pauly.
but
You don't listen.
fucking they would have me train against these guys who basically they would show me technique and we would spar each other, but I was 13 and these guys were like 19.
Oh, it's such a big difference at that
and,
age. That's
and
such
so
a big
those
difference.
guys were all cool and they knew that, and they were like, I'm 19 or 20, this kid's 12, 13 years old. And they would basically almost just let me punch away at their stomachs.
Right.
They would
Okay.
literally
All right. That's
just, like,
cool.
leave themselves open, let me punch away, and then they would throw shots, so I knew what it was like to have like fists coming at me, blah blah blah. But it was almost like they would take it so easy on me that it would like bother me because I wasn't really sparring and I kind
Uh-huh.
of felt like I wasn't learning anything. So then what the trainer would do is he's like, all right, fuck it, you're not getting enough out of this. So he would have me spar against the 19, 20-year-old female fighters. And then they just beat the shit out
They'd
of
go
me.
way
They
overboard.
beat-
Yeah.
So these like women, I'm like this like prepubescent kid. And these
Jesus
women are just
Christ.
like beating the shit out of me.
That was pretty funny.
Oh,
That's brutal. That's
was-
so brutal in so many ways.
dude, it was
It's like
crazy.
the both your ego and your body are getting destroyed. You're like, God damn it.
Oh,
I feel like if that happened to me, I would have developed an even bigger complex towards hating women. I already have one as is. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys.
Just kidding. Come on.
another bail.
That one I needed to bail out of. It's the year.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh man.
Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. And yeah. He's
Wait, you guys see the new Between Two Ferns?
No.
Oh,
There's a new one?
They put out a new one. Jerry Seinfeld and Cardi B.
Oh my God.
It's so hysterical. So
That sounds
Seinfeld sits
incredible.
down and Zach Galifianakis is playing it off like he doesn't want him to be there.
Yep.
He's like, "What is this? I love the '90s."
Oh, that's
He's
very
like,
funny.
"I'm joined by Jerry Sandusky." He's like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh, not really. Oh, I gotta see this.
The best joke though is he goes, Seinfeld was a launching pad for a lot of people. He goes, Elaine is a vice president. And he goes, Kramer had that great stand-up bit. I was crying when he said that.
Oh, that's so fucking
It
funny.
was the most awkward one so far because I don't know if Jerry was not good at taking it or he just couldn't improv.
I'm not
back,
surprised.
but it was pretty. And then they bring out Cardi B and make Jerry Seinfeld sit on a milk crate.
that's so fucking.
That's
He,
awesome.
he looks at
Yeah.
Jerry and he looks like he's going to take it serious and he goes, actor, writer, producer, comedian. Which of Larry David's skills do you find the best? He's
was-
really skinny now, Galifianakis. He's like, he looks like he's 140 pounds.
Oh, that's great.
Were we-
I remember when that Chappelle bit about Michael Richards and how he
Oh, yeah.
he
the Laugh
respects
Factory?
he doesn't, well, not that word, not the respects, but he connects
Empathizes.
empathizes him as a comedian and not as a black person. And
Yeah.
Let him
the
break
joke-
you, Kramer.
Yeah. Don't let him get you.
I'm pretty sure that video has like 80 million
Sound of a
views.
bad
Him saying the N-word or the Chappelle one?
Chappelle one.
So that one is a ton.
The Kramer video is pretty tough to
Having a bad
watch.
set.
Is it
Yeah.
still up?
I've seen it, yeah.
Oh man.
He was coked the fuck out when that happened.
well, it's just,
Also, he
it's
wasn't
so
much
many
of a
things.
stand-up. He was a physical guy. He used to
wasn't
go
a
on like
stand-
Carson and do
Yeah.
like gags jokes and
You could tell.
On Leno too. He do that working out bit on Leno.
yes, the working out
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
It's so weird. I don't like. None of us would have that. The inclination. He had to just like
Don't
shout
speak for
the
me.
N-word.
Please don't speak for me.
But
Have you not met me? I've shouted out worse.
You should see how I bomb. I can fucking take my shirt off. And start
That's the only way I bomb.
dude, you could tell in that video how fucking emotional he is, though. Like,
Yeah,
he's
he had a
just
bad day.
So out of his element, and he's so angry and he's so frustrated and he's so scared and it's just bubbling up at the same time. He just starts shouting. He's just losing it.
You know
It's
what?
So weird.
I always looked at that and I was like, that's the feeling like when you go to the grocery store to get one thing and you come back with everything but that one thing and you're just like, fuck! Like, that's what I always felt like for that, but I've never said that after that's happened.
At the
it's-
grocery store.
It really is one of those
Yeah,
things where
in
you
private.
You watch it and then you see his brain do the math of like, what do people like? And it's like, oh yeah, being rude. And you're like, no, that's not what it is. That's not what it is.
Yeah, you see him. You can watch his face make the wrong decision.
And you can see his eyes literally make a left turn. You're like, oh no.
Don't do it, Kramer.
Don't let him break you, Kramer.
I gotta watch that Chappelle bit again.
I want-
that was
fucking
that was
watch it
also
right now.
Chappelle's comeback. He
Yeah,
like dropped
yeah.
in the Laugh Factory unannounced.
Mhm.
That's when he started getting back into stand up.
God, he's so great.
And now I'm pretty sure I heard that Pete Davidson is his feature now. Will Cy Vince hosts, Pete Davidson features, little
Wow.
music set from Ariana Grande.
Jesus Christ.
This is a wait. What?
Yeah, Pete's been opening for Chappelle.
Oh,
And Ariana Grande sometimes drops in.
And does music?
Yeah,
and Will Sylvan's host.
yeah. Will's one of the
where
best
have they
hosts.
been doing?
He really
I
is
know
a
they did a
phenomenal
bunch
host.
of those in Atlantic City.
Oh,
And
that's
then
cool.
I forgot where. I mean, Chappelle's doing like a little bit of a tour, I think, or at least he's doing a few random dates at theater. He's like one of those guys who could announce I'm doing a theater tonight and then it sells out.
Oh yeah.
He
It's
brings-
like him.
He brings Donnell Rollins to feature for him a ton.
Yeah,
Like, he's been doing that for years.
I mean when he did that Radio City run this past year, I mean he loaded every single show to make sure he had to follow the heaviest hitters.
Yeah.
It would be like Attell, Pete Holmes, Will Vince, Cypher Sounds with MC and
Yeah.
DJ at the same time. He's just something else, man. I respect a guy who's like, yeah, put up anybody before me and I'll bury them.
He's amazing, man. I really think it's weird. This is the most. He's like to me, he's like the best in his field, but he's living. It's very weird. Usually that person's
Usually dead, yeah.
Yeah, and you're looking back on them and you're like, man, wasn't Michelangelo great, or whatever field you're looking in, wasn't Michael Jackson great? But
That's
with
the best Ninja Turtle.
with this guy, it's like he's not only is he alive, but he's also churning out a shitload of new material right now. Like he's alive and going for
Yeah.
it right now, and he's like this legendary, well-respected kind of like god of the craft. It's fucking crazy.
I love it because we kind of, as young comics, didn't get the chance to see Carlin in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get to see him pump out a special every year, and now we get to see Chappelle do it.
It's
It's fun to watch a guy who's already one of the best ever, if not the best,
Yes,
still pumping out good content.
like all-time legend, and he's churning out more content now than he ever. He's putting out more material now than he ever has been.
Yeah, it's
Also, more material now than like anybody does. It's crazy.
the only thing. It's like I was like, I get why he does it because he could literally do like 10 shows a night if he wanted to. He could write like 30 minutes in a
He
week.
could also stay on stage for 4 hours, which he does sometimes.
Yeah, he does.
I find it rude. I don't care how good you are. Get the fuck off stage.
I don't know.
I gotta see my kids.
I'll say who. I'm surprised. It's got to be weird for a crowd to get tired of Dave Chappelle because you know that happens.
They
If he's
do.
on
A lot of
stage
them
for-
leave when he would do that at the Cellar. Most of the crowd would leave, and it would be like 10 people left by the end.
Dude, if he's on
Just because it gets like to be 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
yeah, and they just have to go.
Yeah, like I have work in 4 hours.
These like tourists are like, bye, Dave.
Yeah. Thanks for the time.
Oh man, that's crazy.
I don't know if anyone else who's at that. I mean, Burr, but even Burr isn't putting out at the rate that. I don't know. It's wild.
No, man, he's more than one a year right now.
And then it's always funny because you have comics like that, and then you have comics who are like, I don't need to see one a year from this person, and you're like, I wish Attell would put out another special.
Oh my god,
Oh.
I love that.
Although word is that he's taping something next week at the Cellar. Him and Jeff Ross.
Oh, they're gonna fuck.
They're doing bumping mics.
Yeah, no, I saw they're making that a special.
Anytime it works, they bump their mics together. It's pretty funny.
I just want to see Dave Attell. That Roadwork special was amazing.
I want to do that idea where you bump mics, but it's me
And penises.
and Luke, and we just kiss on the lips. I mean,
Nice.
every time a joke works, we just kiss on the lips and go, man, isn't comedy fun?
You guys should really do the bumping lips tour.
There's a couple. I was thinking about it the other day. There's a bunch of comics. I'm like, I haven't seen a special because there's so many specials out now, and it's like, oh, why has this person done 4 and this person's done none?
Yeah,
So weird.
I think it's because, no matter how big someone gets, if you're not someone who's going to sit down and work towards putting together a new hour, you're never going to become that person.
Very good point. They
Like,
don't
I
wanna
feel
burn
like
that
the
material.
comics who are famous now and only put out a special every 5 years are probably the ones coming up who did the same 10 minutes every show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, a guy like Louis who was putting it out every year was because he was always such a prolific writer.
I would love to see Metzger put out another special.
Yeah, his first album was phenomenal.
Yeah, and that last
Although
special.
That Alaska joke, I loved, and the
Yeah, where you go. See, if you haven't been to Alaska, you should go to Hawaii instead.
I was on the road with him not too long ago, and he definitely has the new hour. It's just he was doing stuff that I was like, oh, it's a shame you never recorded this because this is going to be outdated in a few months.
yeah.
That's,
That's
thing. They said Geraldo did mostly topical material too.
so hard, man.
Crazy.
I heard that someone found
Michelle?
new recordings of Hedberg, and they're going to release a whole new Hedberg CD.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too. And
That'll
by
be
heard, I mean I
exciting.
saw a headline of an article that I
I
did not
feel-
read.
Nice.
You know, the other thing that's interesting is the shelf life of topical material now is way shorter than it ever has.
It really seems that way.
Because there's so much media, you know about everything instantly, and you know about so much more stuff because there's so much more media and it's more ubiquitous.
if someone
should I
makes a
stop
joke-
doing my election material? This
Like,
shit's crazy.
At this point, if someone makes a joke about Snapchat, I'm like, what? Who the fuck still uses Snapchat? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's like when you hear a MySpace joke.
yeah. It's like,
Oh,
fuck off.
my favorite is I saw someone the other day doing like a serious bit about. Listen, I bring up Room Raiders in my set sometimes if I'm on the road.
Really?
But just because
I love that show.
It ties into a porn joke. Well, basically, it was that's how I watched that before I ever really jerked off. So I was like, oh my God, do you come and then they put a black light through everything?
Mm-hmm.
So I would just bury socks that I would come into in the backyard.
Oh, that's like a dog. That's great.
And I talk about it on stage how like when my parents discovered the sock graveyard, and it's a fun bit.
That's great. Make sure to come out and see Dan. He's going to be all over the country soon.
Different parts of me will be all over the
There's these old guys in Boston, like these old hacks that have been doing comedy for like 30 years that will do jokes. Like, you could tell they haven't updated their act in like 25, 30
Oh,
years.
that's right.
And they'll literally do jokes about like, oh man, yeah, you know what's the worst? Is waiting for the dial-up. like literally, with no irony.
Oh, that's fucking beautiful.
Man, they didn't have my AOL screen name I wanted.
Oh, that's like this newfangled technology to them.
That's so fucking
AOL
funny.
screen name, they don't even know what that is, dude. That's
Yeah,
fucking
have you
10
ever-
years past where they're at.
Have you ever watched what's his name? Andrew Daly's comedy, his character of a comedian?
No.
It's he's doing stand up, but he's just starting jokes that are very hacky, but he doesn't end them really. It's truly one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And he's like, "Oh, I went out with my wife the other night. Don't get me started on this. We went out. Oh my God, you wouldn't even believe it." And he just kind of trails off. And he's like, with that same enthusiasm, it's just so fucking
that.
funny. He's so good.
That's hilarious.
He's one of those people like, you're not a stand-up, but I think you're the funniest fucking person.
It's funny because unironically, that's become a form of comedy where you just talk and you hope there's a punchline, and if not, you don't even worry that much.
That's crazy.
So many times I'll see people start a joke, and I'm like, oh my God, they have no idea where this is going to end.
You can just fucking tell in their voice. There's no confidence in it.
I now admit it out loud where I'm like, listen, guys, I stumbled into this without seeing an exit, and I still don't see an exit, so we're just going
Yeah.
to have to dismount right
Well,
now.
that's the pro way of doing it. Be like, well, I'm not gonna try to lie to you and pretend that there is something here.
Yeah, people used to say like that was the way you shouldn't, like if you bomb and you don't call out the joke, it's like, no, you should do that. That's what you do on the road to make sure your set continues to go well.
Well, you're saying people have suggested that if a joke doesn't go well, you shouldn't address it at all.
Yeah, just keep moving past.
I think that's
That's
kind of
such
crazy.
a pretentious fucking douchebag way of looking at comedy. It's like, no, you have to be present in the room. And if you were doing well and then it got awkward for a second, it's not bad to address that awkwardness.
Yeah, the thing about comedy is if the room gets awkward, you have to address that it's awkward, no matter what happens, because they also feel how awkward it is, the crowd.
Yeah, if a crazy heckler yells something nuts, if, a glass breaks, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think it's also the thing. Like, okay, let's say I start doing a joke that is borderline writing on stage, and then I end it, and I don't mention that I don't like how I ended it. They're gonna think, oh, he thinks that's funny, and they're not gonna trust my judgment on the rest of my jokes. Or if I'm like, oh, that really didn't end the way I wanted it to, or that sucked, things like that would be like, okay, he knows it wasn't great. I haven't lost belief in them as a comedic mind.
Oh, yeah, and sometimes those could be the best laughs. Sometimes breaking the fourth wall is the best thing.
I did a roast one time against, it was like a panel roast with a bunch of our friends. And I wanted to, my friend is like, the big joke about him is that he's just too nice and he's a big pussy and whatever. He's like super white from a really reserved Christian family, whatever.
Sounds
So
like all good things.
when we're
Good man.
we are. He's a nice
You said
guy.
white, right? Okay.
So
yeah.
when we're all busting each other's balls, like that's the thing that we're all gonna roast him about. It's like being soft and being a pussy, whatever. And I had this joke that I wanted to do, and I didn't want to even turn it into a joke. I just wanted to say it that he uses dental dams.
Oh, that's very funny. Yeah. That's very
So
funny.
what I did was, that's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to make it into like, Ian uses this. I
Right.
just wanted to say, I think Ian uses dental dams.
That's the best sometimes.
And-
When you just like say it.
So what I did
Matter
was
of
I
fact.
just looked down at the paper and I said, this one just says Ian uses dental dams.
Ah,
and they loved it because I was
Yeah.
just like, because they almost made it seem like I just like had to write that and couldn't put anything else down. And it was,
I love that.
so that was like, I did that in like the front.
Yeah,
of,
I think it's
you know,
beautiful. That's beautiful.
it
I
was,
love that. I really love when it's just a very matter of fact statement, like, especially if it's a rebuttal to like a somewhat complex joke. I was like, "Well, it works here. And last time they would do it, it's my life," and it's like, you look like an asshole. It's just that simple. You're like, oh fuck, it's still funny.
Dude, Maddie Smith did a thing, like a really just like blatant thing like that made me laugh so fucking hard. Like a couple months ago, she just like looked at some guy with like kind of like coiffed hair in the front row. She goes, "Oh, look at you! You look like you like fucking pounding anal. Like, or
Just something so simple,
or like something like you look like you like to get like pounded. Like it was like she hadn't been vulgar the entire set.
Oh, that's even
and then
funnier.
Out of nowhere, she just said this like disgusting thing about
That's
how
very
this guy
funny.
likes anal sex. It fucking killed me, dude.
I was hanging out at a show, and a comedian. I was sitting next to my best friend, Micah Brucey, who's also a very good comedian. And you know when a comedian will start a joke, and your brain goes to all the possible ways to end it,
Yeah.
and they pick the least interesting one, and you're disappointed in them.
Yeah.
Because a comedian started a joke by saying that her doctor had asked her if she'd had been feeling pain during intercourse, and I leaned over to Mike and I'm like, "What do you mean, like butt fucking? like the idea of like intercourse still could be my butthole and not just a vaginal."
Yeah.
And so we just start laughing in the back, and I felt rude about it of how hard we were laughing because her joke itself didn't get a laugh.
That's hilarious. So you're telling better versions of her
Right.
joke to a one-man audience.
Which
in the back of the
I've
room?
had that when I'm on stage. I never heard
What
people.
was her ending? It was just like, oh yeah, I have ovarian cancer. You were
Yeah,
just
so
like,
that's-
oh,
it was
man.
something like I was like, oh, barely wet or something. Yeah, that's even not even good. Man, comedy fucking sucks sometimes.
I think we should end it on comedy fucking
Comedy
sucks
fucking
sometimes.
sucks, and I love you. Thank you so much for listening. This
Hey.
has been the Fight Fist
This has been the
podcast.
Middle Easy Fight Fist podcast, everybody.
Why don't you do us a favor? 5-star, rate and review.
Yeah,
Tell a
please.
friend. You got a friend or a neighbor that likes MMA? Tell them. You got a friend who likes comedy? Kind of, too. Why not?
Listen, and if you rate and review us, we'll read you out on the podcast. We'll give your name. We'll read your review.
Tweet
we'll
at
shout
us.
you out. We'll
Come on,
send you
guys.
nudes.
I'll
we'll
send
do
you
it all.
I
I'll
have
send you
a
the pic
one-
that I just showed them when I was
that's
ripped.
That should go on the Twitter. I have a 1-star spine. At least give me a 5-star podcast.
And we got some guests coming up, probably.
Very, yeah, we're not
Maybe.
gonna name names. We got some
We're not
stuff.
gonna name
Don't worry.
names, we got some
We've been
nice
doing
guests.
homework. Just
I'm
people are
not
kind
going
of
to
flaky.
name names because they all have a tendency to ghost me.
Yeah, they're all flaky. But God bless you all so much for listening.
Yes.
And
Thank
a
you,
big
guys.
kiss
We
on the
love you.
lips and wherever else you'd like one. Bye bye.
Bump my mic. Bye.